This is the 2014 Hyundai Equus. If you look up close, it resembles the Lexus LS-460 luxury sedan. It should. When they went down to the copy shop, they put it on the Xerox machine and made a pretty close copy. Of course, most copies are less expensive than the original, which is the case here. And we'll be looking at the price stickers later on in the video. The Hyundai Equus has a 5-liter V8 putting out 429 horsepower to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Gas mileage is rated at 15 to 23 miles per gallon, which is pretty close to what I've been getting. The Hyundai interior is about as luxurious as anything you get on the Lexus line. Great materials and workmanship, great leather seats. Lots of controls, do all kinds of goodies, as we'll look at later. Lots of room in the rear for full-size adults. If you're sitting in the back and getting bored, you can put this down and have all kinds of buttons and controls to play with. This goes to the sound system, climate, seats. Gives you something to do. And of course, it wouldn't be the same without the cup holders, right? The Glovebox size is adequate, but like the Lexus, we get a owner's manual the size of a phone book. Take it out, put it in the trunk. You'll have a lot more room in the glove box, of course, which is what I did. The navigation and audio system is controlled by a panel down here. I think since Hyundai was trying to copy the Lexus, they should have copied the Lexus system. This one here is adequate to use once you read the owner's manual, but without it, it's just too complex. It took me 2 days to figure out how to set the radio programming. No, I didn't read the manual, but you shouldn't have to, right? Of course, I only had this car for 7 days. I think the buyers who buy it and have it for 7 years won't have a problem figuring it out. But not as simple as others I've used. Fortunately, the climate controls are very easy. A couple simple knobs, push buttons for controls. Won't have a problem with this. Obviously, with 429 horsepower and 8-speed automatic, acceleration is not a problem. The brakes work just fine. Now, you like a soft, comfortable ride, this car certainly delivers. However, in terms of performance, I found the steering to be a little bit too light and the suspension just a little bit too soft. However, we have a situation where we can solve that. By simply pushing the drive mode button, you can put the car in normal, snow, or sport mode. The sport mode beefs up the suspension, steering, and transmission shift points, which gives you a lot more aggressive driving characteristics. A lot more pleasant too. The only drawback is you cut off some of the gears in overdrive, so it's not a good feature to have on the highway, but it's great around town. Driving in this sport mode won't make this into a race car, but it certainly is more pleasant to drive. The steering has better feel too. And the transmission shift points are far more aggressive for downshifting or upshifting. Pushing the slower button can raise or lower the suspension as needed. Pushing this button on the right, that one will raise or lower the sunscreen in the rear. By the way, the sunscreen, the adjustable air suspension that raises and lowers in the sport mode package is standard equipment in the Equus. You have to pay extra on the Lexus. There are two features I didn't care for in the Equus. Number one, the auto-dimming mirror system darkens the mirror we're looking at here and the two side mirrors on the outside. According to the manual, you can disconnect it by pushing this button, but mine didn't go off when I pushed the button, so I was driving in the dark when passing and interchanging lanes at night. Didn't care for that. I'm going to have to read the manual a little bit more, see if I'm screwing up. The second feature I didn't care for were these extra wide rocker panels underneath the door. Because of that, you're constantly rubbing your legs on the outside body panels, and if you got dirt or mud there, the dirt and mud gets on your pants. Not a good idea, especially for women drivers. Now for a price comparison. Actually, we had two Lexus LS-460s for this test, the basic model and then the F Sport. The basic model starts at $71,990. You had options like blind spot monitor, comfort package with climate controlled front seats, LED headlamps, DVD player, heated wood steering wheel, etc. We came to a total of $78,584. However, most of the stuff I just read is standard in the Hyundai Equus. There were no options, everything was standard, which came to $61,920. A big difference, I would think. Now in the Lexus F Sport, you need $8,350 to get the F Sport package, which includes the air suspension that can raise and lower, or give you the sport mode for the sport steering, suspension, and shifting, like we had on the Hyundai. In all fairness, it also includes a Brembo monster-sized brakes and some other goodies we don't get on the Hyundai. But the bottom line is the total on the F Sport was $86,415. So going back to the $61,000 on the Hyundai, we see a big price difference too. In a direct comparison between the Hyundai Equus and the Lexus LS-460, many people have been asking me, is the Lexus a better car? And the bottom line is, I'll probably say yes. And it has a reputation for reliability and a good dealer network and good resale value, but then that's what you're paying for. On the other hand, I don't think Lexus has anything to worry about with this Hyundai. I think most people who would buy a Lexus don't want to be seen in a Hyundai and will continue buying a Lexus. I think most potential customers will come from Lincoln, Cadillac, and Infiniti owners who want to move up to a Lexus LS-460 but can't afford it. In this respect, the Equus would be a very good choice, because when you're driving this, it's pretty hard to tell the difference between a Lexus, and that's certainly worth something. The Equus might not have the status, but it's certainly a good buy for the money. A very nice car. By the way, the word Hyundai is nowhere in the vehicle, so actually they'll never know what you're driving anyway. Two quick updates for the Hyundai Equus. Number one, I found out that indeed this button does turn off the auto dimming mirror system, but I found out you have to hold the button down for 4 seconds for that to happen. It doesn't tell you that in the owner's manual. I had to find out myself. So you learned something from watching this video. Number two, on long trips I've noticed there's a lot of heat generating from the transmission tunnel into the cabin. Lots of heat. And a lot of it goes into this upper console here. To give you an example, I'll use this infrared measuring device to measure the temperature. 125.9 degrees. And this is in the winter time and I haven't driven very far. On long summer trips it's going to be a lot hotter. I think Hyundai needs to put a heat shield down there somewhere. Today we're going to look at the 2013 Lexus LS-460 standard model. At the end of the video we'll also be looking at this LS-460 with the F Sport package, which costs just a wee bit more. Now the hottest engine in the Lexus lineup is the 4.6 liter V8 rated at 414 horsepower found in the Lexus ISF model. This is a slightly detuned version, putting out 386 horsepower and hooked to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Even though it's detuned, trust me, it's plenty quick. Gas mileage is rated at 16 in the city, 24 on the freeway. In mixed city commuting, I'm getting around 17 and a half. The cabin is extremely well built. Dash layout has lots of goodies on it. I can't explain them all, but I can tell you all the controls are easy to reach and easy to use once you learn how. The glove box is only medium size, but it helps if you take that monster phone book size owner's manual off and put it in the trunk where it belongs. That's just taking up way too much space. Many of the functions on the Lexus is controlled by this stick here. All you do is press the menu button, then pick the item you want. Obviously we don't have time to explain it all here, but this is very easy to use once you know what you're doing. And it's a little simpler than what we get on many German cars. The rear seat area has plenty of room, so if you carry lots of passengers, they're going to be very happy. The rear trunk also has plenty of room, so if you're smuggling relatives from Mexico, I suspect they'll be happy too. The LS-460 is very pleasant to drive. The steering feels very good, responsive. The suspension is soft and comfortable. The brake pedal is very firm and responsive, although not as responsive as the F Sport that we'll be looking at later, which has a much bigger, better brake system. And the car is extremely quiet. An excellent vehicle for long trips, especially with these comfortable seats. And there's plenty of engine power when you need it. Now on a road like this is where the Lexus LS-460 really shines. You've got a very solid body structure, which means you've got a quiet interior, nice seats, an excellent sound system, and a very comfortable suspension. So even if you're not going anywhere, it's nice to take it out for a drive anyway. And so far I've been getting around 25.5 to the gallon on this road. The cornering ability of the LS is very good. However, if you're taking corners like this quite often and quite fast, you'll want to opt for the F Sport package with the adjustable suspension, which we will be reviewing after we get done with this car in the second half of the video. So stay tuned. Even on washed out dirt roads like this, the ride is very smooth and comfortable. Obviously Lexus did a lot of work in tuning the suspension. Now we'll switch over and take a peek at the sportier F version of the LS-460. Now this is the control knob for the sport suspension. You turn it left for comfort economy mode, push for normal, and turn it to the right for the sport or sport plus mode, which will show you on the screen. There's also a hide right switch, which I think according to the manual raises the suspension a bit, but doesn't tell you how much or why you would do it. It's only one page long and a few paragraphs. I can't comment on that too much, haven't used it. Okay, here I'm going to push the sport mode once. That gives engine and transmission sport programming. Push it twice, it activates the sport shocks. Or push the button, goes back to normal. That's what you get for your 8,000 bucks. And here's your Eco mode or the Comfort Shock mode. Driving around in the Comfort mode was, well, what can I say, very comfortable, but hitting speed bumps, still got to be a little careful. And in the sport mode, got a lot of pickup. Oh, another speed bump. Bump, bump. The F Sport comes with a bulletproof windscreen for dodging bullets from Al-Qaeda. I'm just kidding, it's a sunscreen. But I had to just add that in. The brakes on the standard LS-460 were very good, but the brakes on the F Sport are absolutely fantastic. These monster-sized discs stop on a dime. Well, that's what you're paying for, right? So why would someone spend $80,000 for a high-tech Japanese sedan instead of a high-tech German sedan in this price range? Well, it's like this. 5 years from now, that high-tech German car is going to be running up an awful lot of repair bills. But 10 years from now, this Lexus is still going to be running. I think that's a good reason.